faster. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. You mentioned the sparring that Canelo and Triple G did. You know, 5-6 years back or whatever it was. Kind of what have you heard about that from Abel, from G? Like, well, what was kind of your take that they gave you, like how it went?
You know, Gennady just says that they were working, they were helping each other prepare for fights. Canelo was training for a fight, Gennady was just up there happy to spar with whoever spar with them. So, you know, they were just working. Naturally, Canelo was much younger. I think he might have been 20 years old at that time, you know, 20, 21. And so, you know, Gennady was kind of an unknown commodity over here. But again, I think they just had a mutual respect because Gennady could see that Canelo was a special fighter at the time, even though he was young.
Yeah.
He still had that kind of rare talent, and he respects that. And I think the same, you know, you could say that for Canelo. Now, naturally, you know, 6 years later, and Canelo, you know, having, you know, a number of fights under his belt, and Gennady, you know, dominating the middleweight division the way he has now, it's really, you know, kind of built up to where these guys are going to put the best of their skills on display in September.
It's just interesting. I watched on the Ring. They had an interview with Canelo after the sparring.
Okay.
And it's funny to hear Abel Sanchez is the one translating for him. It's kind of, it's funny. It's kind of like you hear that now, like wow, like, how it comes full circle.
Knowing years from now.
I think from that sparring, Doug Fisher actually wrote about it, and it was like the first time said, you know, this guy is a tremendous guy that was sparring with Canelo. Canelo was a known name,
right?
And Gennady still, you know, hadn't had his, you know, television exposure over here, so he really wrote a big story like this is going to be the next star in boxing.
Are you expecting a knockout, or are you expecting this fight to go 12 rounds? Because Canelo has been very vocal about knocking out Triple G, and Triple G has never been down as an amateur or a pro.
Right.
What's your expectation in this fight?
You know, Abel has said he wouldn't be surprised if it goes 12 rounds just because Canelo's a durable guy. He's fast. He showed a tremendous amount of poise in the Chavez fight. You know, arguably, what was it?
I mean, do you really call it a fight against Chavez? I mean,
but I mean, he fought it. What was it, like 14 pounds heavier than, or no, 9 pounds heavier than he's fought before. So you know that was a big jump in weight for him. Chavez physically was not bigger. I mean, you could say Chavez really was drained, so he really didn't bring much to the table. But you really don't know, you know, how that's going to affect the fighter. You know, Chavez looked like he was finally taking the fight serious and was training, and then you don't know. You know, he's a big guy. He's got talent, and maybe he could have landed one of those big punches they landed against Sergio Martinez. Like, I think he ruined Sergio's career because he was losing pretty much every round. In the 12th round, he almost had Sergio out.
Yeah.
And you know, Sergio twisted his knee and hasn't been the same since then.
Right.
So you know, it's hard to predict. I mean, naturally, after the fight, you can say, well, Chavez didn't really put up much of a fight, but you know, at the same time, I don't think Canelo allowed him to get into the fight. You know, he was throwing great combinations. He was very fast, and you could see his body was very muscular. He looked physically very strong at that weight. So I think at 160, you'll see, you know, Canelo really in his peak physical condition, and a very motivated Triple G, and that's what makes this fight so so intriguing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an early knockout. I don't expect it, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it goes 12 rounds.